There's a lot of operators that they operate just few apartments. They are starting the business, thinking that it's an easy business. I don't think they will survive in the market.
Today I'm here with Ionut. He's the managing partner at Keyrock Holiday Homes. He's also a serial entrepreneur and someone that has built, scaled, and exited businesses in the vacation rental space before across different markets, specifically in Romania, grew a large property management portfolio to more than 200 properties, sold that business, then went on and helped build a business in Bali as well in the same space, and now is operating in the Dubai market. There's a lot of companies that allow you to, let's say, keep track of maintenance tasks and cleaning tasks. But I feel like the challenge sometimes is making sure that the people on the field actually use those tools. How have you managed to ensure that whatever process or technology or initiative you put in place, it is actually followed and it is actually used as a guideline on how things should be done?
We have this problem with the team members that are not following all the tools because they say it's challenging, but they're all the time on TikTok and Instagram. So what we do now, we do bonus on the penetration, how much they use the application, how correct they use the application.
A lot of times people that are entrepreneurs, they like creation, they like to start new things, and sometimes those new things can become a distraction from the core thing that you just need to do more of. How do you navigate those two things there?
I know what's the main focus. I cannot divide my time. We are very structured now and we are very systemized. We have clear systems. I would have time to start any other business, but that will keep me back from reaching that 1000 units by end of 2026. It's only about discipline.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hospitality Edge podcast, where we bring together what we think are two sides of the same coin, real estate and hospitality, and where we aim to bring together operators, founders, leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs in the vacation rental and hospitality space so they can tell us about their stories, the lessons they have learned along the way, as well as maybe some of the mistakes they might have made along the way so we don't have to make those same mistakes ourselves. Today, I'm here with Ionut. He's the managing partner at Keyrock Holiday Homes. He's also a serial entrepreneur and someone that has built, scaled, and exited businesses in the vacation rental space before across different markets. So he's done so, specifically in Romania, grew a large property management portfolio to more than 200 properties, sold that business, then went on and helped build a business in Bali as well in the same space, and now is operating in the Dubai market, also helping scale a management operation. He's been involved on the arbitrage side, on the property management side, has a good perspective on both. So we're going to be discussing, the differences, in terms of scaling operations based on the model, based on the market, as well as lessons that he might have learned along the way. So, Newt, before we start with the story and whatnot, one question I usually like to start with is, what is something that if you were to start all over again, knowing what you know today, let's say you're brand new to this business, but you have the know-how, what would you do differently if you were starting from scratch today?
I would think much more of the systems and the process because when I started in the beginning, it was what's so hard to rent apartments on short-term rental. Everyone can do it, and it is like this when we are looking at one, two, three units. But when we are looking to scale, for sure, the system and the processes are the most important thing.
Hmm. And if you were starting again today, what exactly like would you start doing? Is there an area you would start documenting your processes in? Is there a process you would follow to document your processes, or like what are some of the best practices you've learned when it comes to building those standard operating procedures and building that structure that is much needed for future scale?
So for me, it was never a problem to take more units to speak with the owner. So the acquisition was not something challenging. The challenging part was the field operations because I had zero experience into this, and most likely it's a hotel, but in many places, and that's the most challenging thing for me. It was before. So I would start with the logistics of systems on logistics and process on cleaning, housekeeping because this is the most sensitive thing, and then the maintenance. So having preventive and maintenance, because in the beginning we only had reactive maintenance, that would be the first thing I would start with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. And in terms of that those tools that are available for those things, I mean, there's a lot of companies that allow you to, let's say, keep track of maintenance tasks and cleaning tasks and kind of like take photos of your inspection and those kinds of things. But I feel like the challenge sometimes is making sure that the people on the field actually use those tools. And if you put a certain process in place, a certain technology in place, like one thing is having it, another thing is using it. um, how have you managed to ensure that whatever process or technology or initiative you put in place, how have you managed to ensure that it is actually followed and it is actually used as a guideline on how things should be done?
The thing is, when I started in 2017, I had not, there were not these tools on the market, or
Mhm.
it was too expensive for the Romanian market. Because when we look at the Romanian market, price per night it's very low, and then we have some high costs, and those tools, it's taking a lot from the profit margin. Now
Mhm.
working in Dubai market, we can afford this, but for sure we have this problem with the team members that are not following all the tools, because they say it's challenging, but they're all the time on TikTok and Instagram, so they know how to use a smartphone. So what we do now, we do bonus on the penetration, how much they use the application, how correct they use the application, and we bonus these things. So we see that they are starting to use more and more, and they pay attention to all the buttons, what's everything happening in the application.
Mhm. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So you incentivize the usage of the tool by building bonus structures around it. Um,
Exactly.
Interesting. And how can you give me an example of a tool you've built a bonus structure around its usage?
So for example, let's say maintenance. If the maintenance guy receive a task and he acknowledge the task in the first 3 minutes, that he has a point. Then if he record the trip from the place he is to the place he has the task, one more point. If he start and stop in the time when he's in the unit, one more point. So we just give
Mhm.
points based on each action, and then they have
Mhm.
to reach a minimum, I think, 300 points per month. And then if everything that's over the 300, it's bonus.
Interesting. Interesting. That's a very interesting approach. I love it. And do you look at reviews as well? Like, do you also connect your bonus to like the review score that a
For sure.
property gets?
For, for sure. So we do have an internal system where we map each review with all the people that were involved for that review, from customer experience to maintenance to supervisors to helpers to cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when we look at a review, then we look, okay, it's a bad review. Who was involved in the entire service here? And then we'll see exactly, we go granular and we see where was the problem. Maybe it was communication, maybe it was cleaning, maybe it was something else.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Okay. So perfect. So that's basically what you would do differently. Start documenting those sooner. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Now let's talk a little bit about kind of your experience in again scaling and selling eventually this management company in Romania. So you mentioned that the owner acquisition side wasn't too much of a challenge, I guess, because you were early on, had a good service, referrals, came your way. Um, what's the thing that you really had to kind of fight in order to crack the code of in terms of achieving that level of scale when you were going through that process?
It was revenue, because when I started in the beginning, 2017, it was like a side hustle. And then in 2019, I went all in. But
Hmm.
then pandemic, COVID came all around the world, so it hit us very, very bad. And
Mm.
all the hotels, all the other operators around us, they were closing the doors. But we said, okay, we don't fire anyone. We try to survive, and then we had 100 percentage of our units only arbitrage. We spoke with all the owners and gave them the variance. Look what we have. We will pay you less or nothing for a few months until we see what is happening, or we can go get out from the unit, but you will not rent it because no one is moving now. There is no traffic.
Hmm.
So the owners helped us, and I think that COVID period was the hardest one, but that helped us to grow as well because other operators went out from the market, from the game, so we overtook their listings and we tripled the number of units during that period of time.
Hmm.
And then right after there was war and still is war at border, Ukraine war. And in the beginning we thought that this will affect our revenue, but it was exactly the opposite. We had a lot of revenue of people moving from Ukraine to Romania, and that helped us a lot right after the COVID to recover what we were losing during COVID.
Hmm. And in terms of like the model, their arbitrage, right? Um, that you mentioned, you started with, COVID came, and then you had to have conversations with the owners about, you know, having them be flexible with the payments, right? Because you were, of course, being affected by COVID, as many were. I'm curious to know, like, what's your what's been the evolution of how you view the model of arbitrage versus the model of property management? Because we were talking, and not to get too much into the Sunder conversation, but just we were talking about how this big arbitrage company went bankrupt recently. And but more important than that is also, like, you went through the challenges that come with the model of arbitrage, because when times are good you make a lot more profit, and you control the inventory and control the pricing and don't have to report to owners. So, like, when times are good, arbitrage is an amazing model. But you also went through what it's like when times are more challenging. And yet now you're going into an operation in Dubai, and you're actually going from management, away from management, towards arbitrage. So I'm intrigued by that, because it seems like, despite the challenges of arbitrage, despite the risk that can come with arbitrage, rent to rent, right, you're still you still think it might be a better model than property management. Otherwise you wouldn't be transitioning the Dubai portfolio from management into arbitrage. So what can you tell me about that?
So I think management it's more operational heavy, and it's more sensible with the owners because some of them they're expecting unrealistic returns. So it's a ping pong with their expectation and what is really happening, and there is a lot of energy there, and it is a good business model. Going to the arbitrage, as you said, it's simple to manage, more simple to manage, but with higher risk. The risk that I can mitigate, and how I want to, how I'm running my business, not putting all the eggs in the same basket, not having owners that have more than few percentage from the total inventory. So if
Hmm.
owner is not flexible to work on the price, if something happens, will not affect the entire business. We'll just lose few units, not the all the units. So it's
Hmm.
only about risk mitigation with the owners.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure there's risk mitigation in terms of not having one single owner represent too much of your inventory. But I'm sure there must be some risk mitigation as well, in terms of, like, the exit clauses that you might want to put
Exactly.
in the lease agreement as well.
Exactly. We have extenuating circumstances, and COVID was an extenuating circumstances. Now, when we look on how market is performing, it cannot be an extenuating circumstances if the market is not performing. But we are here in a market that the tourism is growing a lot, and of course, anything can happen. We see there are war all around the world. There are tension all around the world. Maybe another COVID will come. Hopefully not. But that's the risk of doing business, from my point of view.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. You cannot control the future. No one has a crystal ball. Now, going back to that Romania, growth you had, did you? did you think it was going to be a business you would sell eventually, or is that was that something that kind of happened organically, and you were exposed to the possibility of selling that business later on after having started it? How did that happen?
Before starting the business, I was every day reading TechCrunch. So I saw one more tech company was sold, something or some other company raised money, and it was interesting. So when I started the business, I was thinking that I would like to have a business to grow it and to sell it at one point. I was not seeing this business to sell it. I have not seen that it can be done with this kind of business. But then growing to the biggest in the region and biggest in Romania into separate cities, it became interesting from for some investors. So that's why I sold, because Romania, it's a really nice market. Is good, doing very good. It become more regulated, and I think it's very easy to dominate the market there with good service, with real operations, with revenue management, and with everything. But then I said, okay, let's sell it and find another market that it's more challenging, and for sure it's bigger. And that's the
Hmm.
reason why I've sold it. And selling it, it was not easy. It was very challenging, because in the beginning when I started the discussion with the investors, we were like few people. Of course, it was 60 people or 60% the company, but most of them were in cleaning, on maintenance, so on. Everything was in house, no outsource, but we had zero system. That's why I pointed earlier the systems. So when they came, they said to us, I will not buy you. You're not, you're just a person. We need system. So we had like 9 months to build systems that will replace us, me and a few other managers. And that's what I'm doing now in Dubai, building the systems. Maybe we will sell one time, few years looking ahead. But in the
Hmm.
beginning, no, it was not an idea about selling it, because I had no vision how this kind of company can be sold.
Hmm. Hmm. Got it. So you start having conversations, you realize, hey, this is not sellable, and there's an interesting book on that called Build to Sell, and it talks about like a story that's very similar. Like this entrepreneur goes to this friend of his that has sold multiple businesses and asks, hey, how much you think my business is worth, only to realize that his business is not a sellable business. And that's very that can be a difficult thing to receive as a message, because this is your baby, you've built it, you've put so much effort into it, and sacrifice, and to be told that it's not worth anything today. How did you handle that?
It was not easy when I heard that we cannot buy you. We can buy a business, and you don't have a business. The business have you. You work in the business. It was hard to take it, but I understood what I had to do, and then I have the
Mhm.
guidance to do it. But in the beginning, when I went to the discussion, I was so optimistic. Oh, what I have here, this business is the best, um, and it hit me very, very bad.
Mhm. And that's the thing, like, if you build the systems and everything from the ground up, again, you're building on those solid foundations. That's why you said, going back to what you said originally, that that's what you would do differently. But when you already have more than 200 properties running, and you have sort of things moving left and right, and check-ins and checkouts, and you haven't built those systems, like, if someone finds themselves in that same position, where they don't have the luxury of being able to build the systems from the ground up, they have an operation running already, and they now have to figure out where to start. I mean, what what does that look like? And because there's people that get used to doing things a certain way, and there's things you don't even know where to start on when it comes to those systems. Like like what was that process like for you? Like, okay, you're told now that your business is worth zero. What's the first thing you tackled?
For me, it was good because I saw the opportunity. I'm building this, I'm building the system, and I will sell the company. But if
Hmm.
there was no this opportunity, if this opportunity was missed, maybe I would close the company, because being one, two, three men shoulder doing everything is taking the life out of you. We were stuck to glued to the phones 24/7, Christmas, New Year, no matter what. And that's not a
Mm-hmm.
lie for sure, no matter how much money you do from the business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And
I see this happening every day around me.
like let's define a system, right? Like a system, like what exactly are we talking? Are we talking you go and open a Google document and you put in step 1, step 2, step 3, this and that, or like, you know practically speaking, if someone's listening and is like, there's so many moving pieces, I don't even know how to start, where to start, in terms of building a system, and much less so like a system that can replace myself. Like, oh my gosh, I do so many things, I'm involved in so many things. Like, how would you advise someone to start that process of maybe taking themselves out of certain areas, and you know replacing themselves, making themselves replaceable, and making the process repeatable? How would you advise they begin that journey?
When I started it, I just started like SOPs, building documents, and there was like a handbook that no one looked over it. And then I was researching a little bit more, and I found BPMN, business process model notation, and swim lane.
Okay.
And how we did and how we do now, we create swim lanes. Each swim lane it's a role. A person can have multiple roles, and then each task for each person for each role. And then we do this automation exactly step one, step two, step three on management tools. So, for example, when we take on board a new unit, after we sign the contract, then the entire project management tool it's auto filled with all the tasks for the entire all the roles in the company. So then the finance knows they know what they have to do. The licensing they know what they have to do. Photographer know when he need to go to do the photographs. The fit out team knows what they have to do. So we just test it and edit more tasks and simplify as much as possible just to have the entire system. That it's a system for me, not a document. It's a list of tasks allocated to each role with dependencies, with duration, with everything.
What's the name of that way of
The
doing
system is
systems?
BPMN, Business Process Model Notation.
Business process model notation. That's so interesting. I see. And is that a book? Is that like a just like
It's
a
more.
concept?
I'm not really sure where it started, but I see it more like a technical system, and it's more as I see it for the developers where they when they build softwares.
Okay.
It's if you
Okay.
press this button, what happened? There are always getaways. If
Mhm.
this, if
If this, then that kind of
exact,
thing.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I see. I see.
We
Okay. Okay. And
only
what's the software you use for that task management?
it's we use the Zoho suite, Zoho one for everything because it has also financial. It's like an ERP, and it has Zoho projects, the task management. But it can be used on any task management.
Any task
Asana, Trello,
management?
Monday, ClickUp, and so
Right.
on.
Right. And it's about making sure that, again, like you said, there's clear roles. Each role has a series of tasks,
And the
and then
person
I guess
has
certain
multiple roles.
tasks might trigger new task creations for other people. Like, once you've completed this, now this next person gets involved. um and again, it sounds great, but I mean, it does take a certain level of like commitment, and I don't want to say personality, but it's work, to put something like that together, right? It's not it doesn't sound like a simple thing you can do on an afternoon.
Now it's evolving, it's growing every day more and more, but it's starting from the ground. And I think the thing that everyone in the business is doing this when you have checkout, trigger the cleaning. And that's the base.
Hmm.
You start from here. And what do you need for cleaning? You need linens. And what do you need? You need water, shampoo, this, that. Where do you buy it from? What happens if you don't have in your inventory? And always it's what if, what if.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. That's great. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about two things I want to discuss that you mentioned were some of the things that make you guys stand out. So one is, of course, the team. So what has changed about your approach when it comes to hiring and talent, whether it's talent acquisition or talent retention? What has evolved if you are looking at the way you saw and hired and retained talent when you first started versus how you look at it today?
When we started to hire, we hired for skills. Now we are hiring for character.
Hmm.
One of the most expensive hire for me was a customer experience manager from Microsoft in Romania. And in my day was this lady, it's coming, we had like 7 customer experience team, right? So my idea was this lady is coming, is taking the department, and it will make it amazing. We will receive only 5-star service. But we were just a startup, not very organized. So when she came from Microsoft to a startup, she felt overwhelmed. And she was expecting to have a person for legal, for finance, for something, just to ask for things. And
Hmm.
we had nothing. So she could not do her job because she was used to corporation level systems, jobs, and what's happening there. We had zero. So then we
Hmm.
decided, okay, we don't need to hire for skills because we don't hire doctors, we don't hire engineers, we just hire people that will speak with the guest and people that will make cleaning and will do maintenance. And of course for finance and legal you need some the skills, but we outsource that. And then we said, okay, let's hire people that are willing to learn and they have great character that we can count on all the time. So this is what we are still doing now. We are hiring for character if it's not like, and I don't know, a
Hmm.
revenue manager that really needs a skill. But for that's
Yeah,
only one role in the company. Then 50 roles, that's just character.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. And what are the characters you look for? The character traits you look for?
Honesty, punctuality. I think if they have both of these, that's hired already.
Hmm. I see.
That's yeah.
Interesting.
And if they have also some hospitality mindset, that's a plus.
That's a plus for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I like it. I like it. And now let's talk about a couple of things. One, you talk a lot about showing the team by example, like showing them what quality looks like. Can you tell us what that means for you and how you go about showing the team what needs to be done, not just by telling them, not just by giving them the system, but by actually showing them what quality should look like?
So first of all, when we launch a new apartment, first 2 nights someone from the team stay in and experience like a guest experience. The apartment is prepared by the team, by the part of the team that is already very experienced and they prove they are good. So what we do, the new employee, we give them like they feel like it's a benefit staying in our apartment, especially in the penthouse or some other units, but they see what the quality means. They feel like a
Hmm.
guest. So we don't. They take the entire process from speaking from the reservation. We just create a real reservation. The customer experience team speak with them, help with the check-in, register them to the buildings. So they are not only going to sleep there. They see the entire process that a guest it's having every day, from check-in
Hmm.
to check-out, and then they understand most of them what are the expectation. And
Hmm. Hmm.
this is happening a lot, especially when it's low season, when we launch new apartments. We never check in a guest if one of our team members did not sleep for 2 nights in the apartment to check everything.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that approach a lot. Yeah, it makes you see, of course, whatever might need to be improved, tweak, change. Maybe the instructions weren't clear. Maybe there's something that, yeah.
Other thing that we have here in Dubai, there are so many 5-star hotels that they are providing an amazing service to the guests, and that people that work in those hotels, they are willing to change the job. They are willing to try the holiday homes company because it's more dynamic. And when they're going to work for Marriott or Hilton or some other 5-star hotels, they everything is in place already. So they are just doing all the systems, all the SOPs. They cannot do anything outside of this. They are willing to
Hmm.
come to companies, holiday home companies, because they have the freedom to improve the system, to improve
Hmm.
the process, to improve everything what is happening. And we have recruited some people like this from five-star hotels, and we see a big improvement of our quality, of our organization and everything. But when we look at those people, can be cleaners, can be maintenance, can be we hire from front desk. So we are not looking to hire the management. We are looking to hire the people that face the guest every day.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that. No, that's great. Now, another thing you also talk about, and we discussed here before, is the fact that you need the entire team to be looking and thinking about scale. Like you need to have like a scale mindset, and and I guess there's two questions I have for that. The first question is, why do you think that that's the right model or the best model? Because I feel like when I interview people, I feel like there's those that have that scale model mindset in mind, like they want to grow and they want to have hundreds of properties, and you have those that are like, no, been there done that, or no, I don't want to go there. I want to be proudly boutique. That's how I call them, proudly boutique. They maybe rather go luxury, and in some cases it's true that a handful of luxury properties can make as much revenue as hundreds of cheaper properties, right? When you compare both of those models, like scale, let's go to hundreds of properties versus let's stay very small but let's go with just ultra luxury. What are your thoughts as to why maybe one might be better than the other, and how you've decided what model is best for you?
From my point of view, for me now it's a challenge to grow more than I was doing before in Romania. So I reach about 200 properties in two separate cities in Romania. Then I help a friend of mine to build about same property management company in Bali in Indonesia, more than 200 villas. And now for me it's like a challenge. Okay, let's see how much we can do. And the goal is 1,000 by end of 2026. And I know that it's an optimistic goal, but we are working to reach it. I like these challenges. The team that I
Hmm.
have around me, they like this challenge because they see themselves running a organization, not a boutique. Some others that like to do a boutique, that's not wrong. It's very good, and that's for them. I don't think that it's a correct and a wrong answer on this. Depends each one what they want. On our team, when we are looking to grow the team and how I make the team to look on scaling, to help to scale the company, when we promote mostly from the company. So we take a cleaner, we make it helper. From helper we make it supervisor. From supervisor we make it area manager, and so on, and can be even operation manager in a few years. So the team, it's fighting for this. They are looking because when we look in Dubai, most of the blue collars we have, they are not in a very good position, and they are looking to fight to be in a better position in life. And we as a
Hmm.
company, we offer them this chance. It's only based on their based on their work and how much they involve with the company and the results they bring to the company. So having this mindset on the entire team is going on the same page, and they are going in the same direction. Who cannot keep the pace with the team, unfortunately we need to dismiss because we move very very fast.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think, yeah, I think it's true that a company that's growing is a company that offers growth opportunities for their team as well. Like, I can see how talent development, talent growth, even talent retention, and just, yeah, basically, like, if you are not growing, I can see that as a challenge. You might be making a lot of revenue, but you don't necessarily need to be promoting people if you're not adding those extra properties, because there's no new roles opening up, and there's not the need to always be bringing people at the bottom, and then those people that are coming in at the bottom will be those that will eventually be, at the top, right? If you build that growth culture around it. So it's a very good reason. And I also see how it's, like you said, it's a fun challenge. It's a number, right? It gives you kind of like a score to be aiming for, and especially in a market like Dubai, where you have so much inventory and there are so many properties. um, I can see how, for someone that's ambitious and someone that wants to, achieve certain things, and yeah, the number of properties becomes a way to measure that success and measure, keep track of that, even though it doesn't mean that, like you said, the boutique approach is wrong. It's just different. So yeah. And how about the team though? What do you, when you say that you need people that are looking at scaling and thinking of scaling and have a scale mindset, what does that look like? What is a scale mindset when you're trying to interview someone, where you're trying to hire someone, where you're trying to decide if you want to promote someone? What do you look at in order to decide if they do have that scale mindset or not?
I'm looking if they want to be comfortable or if they want to go above and beyond. And when I see something that is looking only for the payday and just to be comfortable on the job, is not something that we are looking into. And what we have hired a lot was people that were doing professional sports before, and that's working because they have that
Yeah.
changing mindset, they have that growing mindset.
Where did you develop that mindset?
I did professional sport, judo, for about 9 years, and I
Okay.
was always in my group of friends. When I was a kid, we were playing a lot of on computer, Need for Speed, some other games. So it was always a challenge between us: who's the best, who can win the game.
Uh-huh. What did judo, what did it teach you about
Discipline,
discipline? Okay, go ahead.
discipline.
Discipline. Right, 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 right.
And trying one more time, one more time, one more time. So my trainings at the judo was like repeating same thing 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
we were doing, like every day. Repeat something 1,000 times. That was start down of the training, end of the training. Next day again, next day again. So until we became the best on that thing. So discipline and doing same time again, again, again until you do it very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you do the same thing again and again and again and again, there's always this phase where, I mean, I can't remember what the stages are exactly, but it's kind of this idea that, like, when you start something new, you have a lot of optimism, but it's not informed
Exactly.
optimism, because you're getting into something new. You don't know what you don't know, kind of thing. You're getting into it, so you're optimistic. Then you start and you realize it's
Boring,
harder.
and it is becoming
It's
boring.
harder and boring and repetitive, and also you're like, oh, okay, so now you're a little bit like more kind of like pessimistic to some degree, but not pessimistic, but you're just starting to see that it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be. And I think that's where a lot of people quit, right? And that's where a lot of people will move on and do something else, and maybe close the business, whatever that might be. And if you get past that, that's when you start to get better at the thing. You've put in the reps, and then you can go from there. When you go through that phase, when you've gone through that phase, because again, you've done this, you did this in Romania, you did this in Bali, you're now doing it in Dubai, and you know that a lot of people see this as an easy thing to do, as an easy business to come in and get rich from, but you know that it's not the case. How do you manage to go through that phase where it's more challenging than you were expecting? How do you push yourself through that and push your team through that?
So in Romania, because I went all in, I had no other options. I have just one bullet. So I had to make it work. Then after I sold in Romania, I took 1 year and I stay on the beach on an island in Indonesia. It was amazing, but that gets boring. And now because I don't have that financial pressure on me anymore, now it's fun.
Hmm.
So even if it's boring, it's getting boring, I know where I want to go and it's fun.
Yeah, because there's that's the thing. Like one thing is it gets difficult. Another thing is it gets the things that you need to be done repetitively can get boring. So, and as an entrepreneur, I think that a lot of times people that are entrepreneurs are very they like ideation, they like creation, they like and they like to start new things. And sometimes those new things can become a distraction from the core thing that you just need to do more of. How do you navigate those two uh, things there, like doing more of the repetitive things that just work and just getting better at them versus creating new things, starting new ventures, changing the business model? Like, how do you know when it's time to start something new and do something different versus when it's time to just repeat and keep doing the reps and keep doing the repetitive things?
The answer is very simple. I never started something new. When I
Hmm.
did it in Romania, I did it for a few years with no other option until I sold it. And then I had sabbatical year, then I started again, and then I started one more time. So I never tried any other business during these long years. And when it's getting boring, we are trying as a team just to simplify more what we do, all our system, all our SOPs, everything. We don't try to complicate, so we challenge ourselves. Let's see how we can simplify everything, and that's our game on new things. We are just improving the system, and that's a new thing for us.
So your mind never gets like, oh, I should start
For
this
sure, it gets,
concierge thing or.
for sure, it gets there. But then I know what's the main focus, and I can know that I cannot divide my time. I still have 24 hours. Even don't We are very structured now, and we are very systemized. We have clear systems, so it's not like it was 5 years ago when I was in Romania one man show. I do have time now. I can enjoy life now, and I would have time to start any other business, but that will keep me back from reaching that 1,000 units by end of 2026. So I know
Hmm.
exactly, and that's because of the sport that I did, the discipline to keep and doing the same thing again until I reach the goal.
Hmm. So
And
it's
we,
the goal that keeps you focused.
yes, yes, even if it's a numeric goal, 1,000 apartment, that can make it sounds a lot for me, right? 1,000 because I never reached this number of apartments. The most I ran, I think it was 200 something. So five
Hmm.
times more, that's a real goal for me. Doing it in 1 year, it's the challenge.
Hmm. I can see how a goal can be a way to create focus, because all of a sudden anything that's not helping you get closer to that goal, even though it might be a good idea, becomes a distraction.
Yeah, I think it's only about discipline.
Hmm. And what's your approach to time management now? Like when you decide to spend time on a certain area of the business versus another area of the business, like how do you manage that time of yours? Is it like, oh, I'm gonna divide it myself by department, and like Mondays are for this area and Tuesdays are for that area, or is there just one core thing department wise that you're always just overseeing and the rest you never touch? Or is it like, you set yourself one priority for the day, for the month, for the week, whatever that might, what's that time management and priority management system that you have for you as a leader in your company?
I try to start mornings with the most important things, the most
Hmm.
important tasks, but it's not always working. Even everything that we do, it's on repeat. Taking new unit is the same system to launch it, check in, check out the team, everything. But every day something new show up that it's urgent. It's not burning, but it's urgent. So I do prefer to treat the urgent and then taking care of other things like we are doing now. Now we have an office in Business Bay, and we do have a storage space far away, Damakis too. That's about 50 kilometers away from our core area. and we decided 3 weeks back, okay, we don't need to extend that space, we need to find another space close to our core area, so we will have the operation in same place, everything will look much better. So this changed in the last 3 weeks because now we are in a good position, something changed in the company. And we do have the funds to do this. Looking 1 month back when I had my task list, this was not on the priorities list. Now because things change, this was the priority list for the last 3 weeks to find the best place, to negotiate it, to make sure we do the fit out for it in the budget and everything. And I do have a team for this, but their focus 1 month back was not this. So the entire operation focus changed just to make sure that by 1st December we move in the new storage in the new warehouse, and that took us away from what the focus was, the main task. And now we have a backlog of tasks that are starting to burn. So we will start to treat these tasks now, and more. It would be wonderful to manage the time, like you said, 1 day per department to make sure everything will be it's going great. Maybe I don't know how to do it. I don't say it's not doable. I'm not doing it now. I'm just looking to move all the pieces very very fast.
Hmm.
So when I see something is slowing in one department, I'm focusing on that one, and that cannot be planned. It's just
Right.
like some people not coming to work. We need to to teach someone to educate someone from the company to take another role. Now we took 3 person that do the telesales to onboard new units. So we are dividing our time everywhere in order to grow very, very fast. When we will be like a corporation, that point I think we can structure our time management like how should be 1 day per department and so on. But we are not there.
Hmm.
I'm not there.
Hmm. And you personally, what do you think are are the departments or the areas of focus in the business that you personally keep the closest to you, that you spend most of your time on, and how has that changed throughout the years, as far as what you think is the most important thing for you to personally spend time on?
I'm not so much in operations now. I'm more in growth. I'm more in
Hmm.
the system that we look. So of course, I'm speaking a lot about systems, but I'm looking on all of them to make sure that they are not overcomplicated and they are easy to follow. And we don't need to hire more people to make the system work.
Hmm.
That's what
Hmm.
I'm looking the most now. Just and we do this only for scaling and to make sure that we are a company that is sellable on one point in time.
Hmm. Okay,
And of
that's
course,
very good.
finance for sure. Finance, it's a big part of my time. Just looking over the numbers. So I'm looking from the apartment level. I'm going very granular, going to what we took, what we do. We take floors. So I'm taking each apartment level. Then I'm looking building level, any area level, and so on. So I'm looking a lot of on the data. That's a big part of my time.
Got it.
And
Now
then
tell me
cost.
something. Yeah, go ahead.
And then the cost, then the revenue, then the profit per head, and everything. So I'm looking
Hmm.
very very granular to all the numbers.
Got it. That makes sense. And when it comes to like the differences between the markets you've been exposed to, like you again, you Romania, Bali, and Dubai. What's unique about Dubai? I mean, of course, lots of properties, lots of competition, lots of growing demand, and all of those things. But like, what does that lead to in terms of a dynamic that might be different to what you had to put in place for, let's say, Romania? Like, how is Dubai as a market making you have to do some things differently, from what you did in the past?
So from my point of view, Dubai is the easiest market that I've operated. There is a lot of competition, but looking on to operations, it's very very easy. Then looking on the numbers again, it's much better than anything else I've operated. Price per night is high, no tax, salaries are low. So looking onto this, it looks very good. When I operated in Romania, price per night was low, ADR was low, salary were higher than in Dubai, and then we had a lot of taxes on everything. So the Sometimes we were not even break even. But here in
Hmm.
Dubai, even if it's low season, we are break even. And that is very, very good for the business, for the health of the business. That's one point. The other point, when I worked in Romania, it was very hard to find people to work, to hire. Now in Dubai, made an ad on LinkedIn for accountant. I had in one night 685 applicants.
Whoa.
Exactly. If we open a role for a cleaner, we will have hundreds waiting in line for the interview.
Wow. Okay.
So to hire people, it's really, really easy. And there are a lot of people with a lot of talent that they are willing to put the effort and to work. So this is something that did not have in Romania. And that was one of the most challenging parts in Romania, to make sure that we have full team. Because
Hmm.
always we had missing a customer support, a cleaner, a maintenance, something. We never had a full team because everything was very shaky.
Hmm.
Now in Dubai, when we hire someone, we know that person is long time with us. We need to do visa for them. We pay for the visa, so they need to be with us. And for
Hmm.
sure, no one force them, but we give them the benefits. We give them all the support to grow in the company. And a lot of people they don't have this luxury in their country, and that's why the way they come here in Dubai. So that's why I think it's a very easy market in terms of operations.
Now, of course, that realization that it's an easier market than in a lot of other markets is a realization that I'm sure many people have had. Therefore, there's a lot of people and companies wanting to start and grow in that space. So it's great that it has all of these things going for it, like the rates and the seasonality and the talent and the taxes and the permits, and all of those things are good, but that again attracts so much more competition than you would have in, like, let's say, Romania or most other places in the world. So how does that increased volume of competition change what you do, or maybe not change what you do, but what do you have to do in Dubai that are things that maybe you would have been okay with not doing in Romania, and you have to do because of the increased competition that you see.
There is an increased competition, but also the tourism is growing. We see more and more people traveling to Dubai. For
Hmm.
sure, the supply is much higher than the demand, and will be because I think next year, 2026, there will be 200 doors handover apartments to the owners from the constructors, and that's a lot.
How many?
200,000.
200,000, yeah.
Yes, that's a lot. But when we look, there are a lot of operators that they operate just few apartments. They are starting the business, thinking that it's an easy business, and I don't think they will survive in the market. There are some big operators that they are doing an amazing job here in Dubai, and for sure they will grow very, very fast. But I think there will be about 10 to 20 companies that will dominate the market, and I wasn't an Airbnb event. And what they said there, in any other part of the globe, is like 80 percentage operators, like not professional operators, owners that operate 1 2 units. What we have here in Dubai, it's about 80 90 percentage professional operators. So the ratio is very big on the professional. And what they show us that the owners are, most of them are investors, and they are not willing to operate their own units. And then when we are looking on the professional, will be, as I said earlier, will be just a hand of them that will do really good business. And now it's like gold rush. Everyone want to start this business in Dubai, but I don't think they will survive long term. So what I'm doing differentiating here, I'm making sure that my team and my company is providing good quality for the guest, that our apartments have something different from 99% of the apartments in Dubai, that they look like hotel rooms,
Hmm.
and uh, the owners are very happy, no matter if it's arbitrage or property management.
Hmm.
That's what we
When
are
you
focusing.
look at when you look at some of those large successful property management companies that are doing it right, what is something that you see that they might be missing, that you want to capitalize
Can you
on, that you
repeat
want
it,
to?
please? You freezed.
Yes, yes, yes. When you look at those big property management companies that are doing it right, that are that are huge, that have good reviews, all of those things. What is something that you think they might still be missing, even though they're doing so well, that you want to do differently, or you want to, capitalize on?
I don't think they are missing anything. There are two players in the market that they are doing great on terms of reviews, on terms of growth, and their team is very, very happy. I spoke with them. So I don't think that it's something missing on the big ones, the top one, two, and three, but
Okay,
there is still place on the market for others. These
okay.
ones,
So
the
it's
top
just
three, will be really, really hard to catch them because they are doing
hmm
amazing already, and they are not doing from this year. They are a few years back already the best, but there is still place on the market for a few more.
got it. Okay, so it's not so much about them missing something; it's more about like, let me go join them, let me join them
Exactly,
type of thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we, as an organization, we have a lot to learn from them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's one of the things you've learned from these big players that you've learned from talking to them, seeing what they do, or just from your own research?
Treating the team right.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the most important lesson I've took here in Dubai. Just treating everyone right. That's not doesn't mean that I did not treat right in Romania or in Bali. But here, having so many people coming to any interview, if you open a role, it gives you the flexibility to choose what person you want from where you want. So if someone is not good, you can replace next second. But that's not the goal to replace. Just treat the people right and make sure you we provide all the tools and all the education for them so they can perform at their best. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important lesson.
Got it. Okay,
Then how
that
to
makes sense.
operate, yes, then how to operate, that's just trial and error, and I think anyone can do if they have the resources and the time and the energy.
Understood. Understood. Well, that's amazing. Thanks so much for the time, and it's been great. I think we got a lot of golden nuggets out of this conversation, a lot of insights. Thank you so much for sharing all of it with us, and I hope to see you soon in Dubai again.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
All right. Have a good one.